Good day to each and everyone. My name is Andre Ronwil C. Nation,
JBG Mendoza.
Hi, I'm Joshua Autende.
and we are the Group F.
The sleeping barber problem is often attributed to Edgar Discastra in 1965, one of the pioneers in computer science. In computer science, the sleeping barber problem is a classic inter-process communication and synchronization problem between multiple operating system processes. The problem is analogous to that of keeping a barber working when there are customers, resting when there are none, and doing so in an orderly manner.
The sleeping barber problem conditions. It consists of one barber's chair in the cutting room, and the waiting room where the customer waits consisting of numbers of chairs. Each of the customer that arrived looks to see what the barber is doing. If the barber is sleeping, the customer will wake him up and sit in the cutting room chair. If the barber are busy cutting the hair of the customer, then the other customer will wait at the waiting room, waiting for their turn. When the barber finishes cutting the hair of the current customer, then he will dismiss it and go to the waiting room to see if there are customers waiting. If there are, then he brings one customer and cuts its hair. If none, then the barber will go back to sleep on the barber's chair. If a customer enters the shop and the waiting room is fully occupied, then he will leave the shop. The sleeping barber problem, deadlock. There might be a chance or a scenario which the customer ends up waiting on the barber and the barber waiting for the customer. This would result to a deadlock. Example scenario, a customer walks in the shop and sees the barber still cutting hair. While waiting, he went out in the comfort room. While she's in comfort room, the barber finishes cutting hair and checks if there are customers waiting at the lobby. The customers enter the shop. She checks if the barber is busy. The barber is busy, so she goes back and sits at the waiting room. While waiting, she goes to the comfort room. The barber is finished on his customer. Then the barber checks the waiting room if there is a customer. The barber goes back to sleep because there's no customer in the waiting area. The customer came back from comfort room and wait again. Solution. The solution of this problem involves the use of three semaphores, out of which one is a mutex binary semaphore. The three semaphores. Customer, cause ready. It helps counting the waiting customer. Barber or barber ready. This is to check the status of the barber, either he's idle or not. Number of free WR seats to keep the count of the available seats in the waiting room. Mutex access WR seats. A mutex which allows the customer to get exclusive access to the number of free seats and allow the increase or decrease the number. The sleeping barber problem, starvation. Starvation occurs to a customer who's waiting for a long time when the customer don't follow order or when a barber calls out a customer randomly. Example scenario. Three customers enter the shop and they sit at the waiting room and the first one to call is the first customer. After the first customer is finished, the barber randomly calls the third customer and skip the second customer. Three customers enter the shop. The first customer enters the cutting room. The first customer walks up the barber and sits in the barber's chair. After serving the first customer, he dismisses it. After the first customer is finished, the third customer was called and left the second customer in the waiting room. Second customer was not serviced and she will decide to leave.
Solution. The problem of starvation can be solved by utilizing a queue where customers are added as they arrive so that the barber can serve them on a first come first serve basis. PIFO equals first in first out.
First is, what is dining philosophers problem? The dining philosophers problem is a classic example in a computer science often used to illustrate synchronization issues and solution in concurrent algorithm design. It illustrates the challenges of avoiding a system state where progress is not possible, a deadlock. The dining philosopher problem is an illustration of a deadlock, a state in which multiple processes are waiting for a single resource currently being used by another process. In the solution to these types of problems, the present formulation of the problem with the philosopher was created by Tony Hoare, but the problem was originally formulated by Edgar Dijkstra in 1965. Philosopher's problem. Initially, we have a table in a set of 5 plates, wherein each philosopher have own plates and forks like this. We have a 5 philosophers whose only work is to keep thinking or feel hungry or eat. For it, the philosopher needs to hold both fork for his right and left. If the philosopher is not eating, he is thinking. There are few problems associated with a situation. They are starvation and deadlock. First problem is the starvation. So what is starvation? And starvation is a situation where one philosopher never gets the chance to eat, thus he eventually starves and dies because of dahil din sa situation na both may isang tao na may gagamit ng dalawang pork, kaya nagkaroon sila ng starvation. Yung isa hindi nakakain dahil nakakuha ng dalawang pork. Second problem is deadlock. Deadlock is a state where one philosopher is waiting for the other philosophers to complete eating, and the other philosophers in turn are waiting for the first one to complete eating, this unending cycle. This problem solution is known as the conductor solution. In this arrangement, an arbitrator is introduced in the form of a waiter or a conductor. Before picking up any forks, philosopher must first get his permission because the waiter is aware of the number of forks in use. He can intervene and avoid a deadlock. The conductor is implemented as a semaphore, and a rule to request forks is implemented to further simplify the logic. Say the right fork first, then the left fork, and vice versa.
And that's it. That's the end of our discussion. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day.